All right. Well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants event. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. Really exciting to see so many groups starting to tune in live via YouTube. Normally, we'll be broadcasting these events live into classrooms across North America and beyond. It's great to be able to use technology to keep them running and to make sure that we're able to reach parents, students, and educators at home during these strange times. Really excited today. We're going to be taking a little bit of a virtual field trip to the Toucan Rescue Ranch in Costa Rica. But just before I introduce that, I want to take a minute to talk to everybody who's starting to tune in about Slido. So we've started working Slido into some of our events. If you look in the chat sidebar on the right, I have just popped it in there. So the link that will take you directly to Slido. There we go. And then use the event code SLOTH. So if you put that in, you'll see that there's a room where you can put in some questions, have those questions upvoted to the top, and you can also take part in some live quizzes that we're going to do throughout today's event. All right. Well, let's keep things moving along. We are going to meet Maria. Maria's at the Toucan Rescue Ranch for us right now. Since 2004, the Toucan Rescue Ranch has been rescuing and rehabilitating native Costa Rican wildlife. So whenever it's possible, the wildlife is released back into the wild, back into its natural habitat. And although they specialize in things like owls, toucans, and sloths, you can always find a variety of native wildlife from otters to armadillos to anteaters to kinkajous, parrots, toucans, macaws, all kinds of amazing animals being rehabilitated by the Toucan Rescue Ranch. Maria, it's so awesome to have you joining us live today. We're looking at some of your friends just hanging around, and we're looking forward to learn a little bit more about them.
Great. So, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today and welcome to the Toucan Rescue Ranch. So, as Joe said, we are a rescue center located in Costa Rica. So, that means that all the animals that we have here were rescued from different circumstances. Probably they were injured or they were rescued from the illegal pet ownership or something like that. And we try to rehabilitate them and release them to the wild. And that includes sloths as well. So the reason why we are called Toucan Rescue Ranch is because we were the first center in Costa Rica to start rescuing toucans. And originally, our plan was to focus only on rescuing birds. But then one day in 2007, a very tiny baby sloth came to our doors. Her name is Millie, and that is how we started to rescue many other different animals as well. So over here we have some of our baby sloths. They are all feeding themselves with green beans and some carrots, and they are doing their morning exercise. So we bring them to the tree so they can practice climbing, eating upside down, also sleeping in the branches, which looks more likely their natural habitat. These are all orphans, so they lost their moms because of different circumstances. Unfortunately, there are two main reasons why we get so many orphans. The first one is because of electrocutions. So our power lines in Costa Rica, they are not covered. So sometimes the sloth confuse them with a tree, and that is when they get electrocuted. Most of the time, the mother is the one who receives the most impact. So the mom doesn't survive, but the baby does. And the baby is the one who gets to our doors, and we can rehabilitate them to release them again. Another reason why we get so many orphans is because of car accidents. Because of the fact that they can't walk as dogs or cats in the ground, they need to crawl. Sometimes when they try to cross the roads, people don't see them and they run them with the car. So also that's another reason why we get so many orphans. These are all babies around the same age, about 1 year. However, they are not siblings. They all come from different mothers. And that is because the mom sloth, she will only have one baby at a time and only one every 3 years. Yeah, so sloths are the slowest mammals in the world. They have slow digestion, slow metabolism, and even slow movements. In the world, we have 6 different species of sloths. And they are all classified between two-toed slots and three-toed slots. However, this name is actually a misnomer because all slots have three toes. You can see it right here. They have three toes, and the difference is on their fingers actually. So you can see that these slots only have two fingers. Right here and here we have the toes. In Costa Rica, we have two different species. We have the brown-throated three-finger sloths, which are the ones who people know the most about. They appear in publicity, merchandise, even in the movie Zootopia that probably some of you saw. And we also have the Hoffman's two-finger sloths. They are the ones that we have here. There are many ways that we can differentiate the two species. First of all, the three-finger sloth. Well, I have a picture over here that I might be able to show you. So here we have the three-finger sloth. They have dark markings in their eyes that look like they have like running mascara, and also they have a very flat face. However, the two-finger sloths, they don't have the markings in their eyes. They have a long snout, and they also have like a piggy nose. Another difference between the two species comes with their diet and also their behavior. Because the three-finger sloth, they are usually diurnal, so that means that they're active during the day, and they are strictly vegetarians, so they only eat leaves. However, the two-finger sloths, these guys over here, they are nocturnal and they are also omnivorous. So they can eat leaves, but they can also eat eggs and flowers, fruits, even insects, they can eat them as well. However, even though they are nocturnal, that doesn't prevent them from being eating and playing during the day, as you can see. That's because their activity periods go by waves. So they are very active during the night, but also in the morning, they're a little bit active, and in the afternoon, around 4 p.m. and 5 p.m., they become very active. So their activity goes by waves. Here you can see them eating flowers. Flowers are their favorite food. They love to eat hibiscus flowers, and that's why we call them the sloth chocolate. The difference on their diets between the two species is very important because that will determine how much energy they get from each meal. So the three-finger sloth, because they only eat leaves, they get much less energy than this species. This species, they get a lot of more energy, and that's why they move even faster than the other species. However, even though they might have different diets, both the two species, they have very slow digestion. So the food that they are eating right now, it can take up to 1 month to be fully digested. And only at that period of time is that the sloth is going to climb down the trees and go to the bathroom. They only do that once a week. And the reason why they almost never climb down the trees is because they are very vulnerable in the ground. They are vulnerable to cars, humans, predators as well. So they prefer to do it the less often that they can. Some of the predators that we can mention for sloths are like jaguars, ocelots, even hawks and big falcons. And people said that one of the strategies that sloths have to avoid being predated by hawks and falcons is hanging upside down in the branches, because that way the branch covers them from the big birds. However, another reason why they don't get eaten very often is because they try to remain invisible to their predators. So they move very slowly, and they stay almost always in the tree canopies. Like our friend over there, they that is usually how they are seen in the wild. So they don't move very much. They are surrounded by branches, by leaves, by vines. So they're very hard to spot if you are on the ground. Also, they're not very tasty. Most of the space that you're going to see in a sloth, like this little guy over here, is covered by their stomach. They have very large multi-chambered stomachs that helps them digest the food more efficiently. But also it helps them to accumulate the digested food. So that's why they have such large bellies. And that's how they can just climb down the trees only once a week because they accumulate all that in their stomachs. And if all of this fails, they have a very good strategy to defend themselves. They have these very long claws that they can try to swipe at their predators. And also they have very long fangs, very sharp teeth that they can also use to bite their predators. So they are very well defended. Other of their threats that we can see in sloths, well, it's climate change, for example, because with climate change, there are more droughts and forest fires. They are more frequent. So when there's like a forest fire, the sloths, because of the fact that they move so slowly, they can't run away from the fire, and most of the time they end up dying in the fire. Another big threat for them is deforestation because the trees are the only habitat that they can live in. So if people start cutting down the trees, the sloths lose their homes and they disappear. And the other very big threat that they are facing right now is the pet trade. That's because people think that they're very cute and they want to have them as pets. However, sloths, seriously, they don't make good pets. They are very aggressive. They don't like to be around people or even around themselves. They are solitary animals. So most of the time, if you see them in the wild, they're going to be alone. They almost never gather in groups. The only time that you're going to see two sloths together is when the mom is with the baby, and that period of time takes about 2 years that the mom stays with the baby so she can teach the baby what leaves to eat and how to go to the bathroom and all the necessary behaviors that they need to learn in order to survive. This is another reason why most of the time when people try to keep them as pets, sloths die. Almost 90% of the time they die. That's because of their complex behaviors. People don't really know how complicated it is to have a sloth. And most of the time they don't feed them very well and they don't take them to exercise or anything. So sloths end up dying. Over here we have sloths that are together because they are orphans. So at this time of their lives, they should be cuddling with their mom and learning from her. However, because of the fact that they lost their mom, we let them play together so they can be like each other's surrogate mother. If they are not cuddling something when they are on the trees, they feel very unsafe and they start to get very stressed. So our babies here, they cuddle each other and that helps them to comfort themselves. So right now you can see all the trees are just trying to gather up together in the treetops, in the branches. They are getting ready to have a good night's sleep. They already ate enough, so they're just gathering there and the three of them, they're going to sleep together.
All right, Maria, what do you think? Would you like to take a few questions?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Perfect. So everybody who's tuning in via YouTube, before we start the questions, after we take a few questions, we're going to jump over and do a live quiz. So I've just put this into the YouTube chat. There's the link to go to the website Slido. Once you're there, use the event code SLOTS and you'll see that the quiz is open. So sign up your name for the quiz, and maybe in about 5 or so minutes, we'll get to the quiz. And let's start getting some of those questions into the chat sidebar that we can ask right now as well. So we'll start. We've got a first question here from David, and David's wondering, if the sloths are solitary, how well do they get along when you're rehabilitating them?
That's a very good question. They are solitary, but they start to show this pattern of being solitary after they are 2 years old. So these guys are 1 year old, and that's why they can still hang out with each other. But after 2 years, they are going to start wanting to have their own space. So that's why our release program starts after they are 2 years old, when they are fully developed and when they want to start exploring new trees, but by themselves, not with other sloths.
All right, great question to get us started. So Whitaker is curious about, obviously they're in Costa Rica, but where else can you find sloths?
You can find them in, well, tropical rainforest all the way from Honduras to Brazil.
Okay, let's see, Chloe's joining in. Chloe's 10, she's in Virginia, and she would like to know how long sloths can live in the wild.
Well, Chloe, that's a very good question. In the wild, this species, they can live up to 30 years, but in captivity, they can live a way lots more. So in captivity, you can find this species of sloths that they are about 40 years old. However, the other species, the three-finger sloth, they can live about 20, 25 years in the wild. They are more fragile, so that's why they live less.
All right, great questions coming in so far. A quick reminder to look into the chat and use the link to Slido and then use the event code SLOTHS because we're going to do a little sloth quiz shortly. But let's jump into another question here. And Charlie is wondering, Maria, why would anybody want to have a sloth for a pet?
I seriously wonder that because I would say that it's because they have very cute faces and they look adorable when they are sleeping. However, when they are awake, they are quite aggressive and actually they don't like to be around humans. So if you saw them while I was recording them, they were not interested in playing along with me. They just wanted to eat the flower and that's it. So I think people get the wrong idea that they're very playful and that they like to cuddle with humans, but they actually don't. They are way much better in the wild. So what we tell people is that if you want to see sloths, if you want to be around sloths, just help their conservation. Don't try to get them as pets. Just go to a rescue center, maybe wherever you want, Costa Rica or other countries, where they are trying to rehabilitate and release sloths as well, or try to see them in the rainforest with your binoculars or things like that. They are way better to see in the wild, in their natural habitat, getting their natural behaviors than when they are pets and they are depressed.
Okay, let's grab one more question before we jump into our little quiz. So the first question we have here, here's another question about their predators. So Whitaker is wondering about the predators of the sloth.
Okay, very good question. They can have many predators because of, well, they're quite slow, so almost anything that can catch them can eat them as well. So very large owls, almost all the birds of prey like eagles, hawks, falcons, and the wildcats like ocelots, jaguars, pumas are very well-known predators of the sloths. Also, it has been documented that some snakes, very large snakes, they can eat sloths and even baby sloths.
Okay, well, let's jump into that live quiz. So if you're in Slido, I can see we already have people signed in and joining the quiz. So let's get things started. There'll be 20 seconds for each question. And the quicker you answer, the higher your points will be. So let's see who comes out on top. So here we go. First question, in the wild, about how many hours do sloths sleep per day? So we've got a few options here, 9 hours, up to 20 hours, 2 hours, or they never sleep. So here we go. That's up there. Answers are coming in. All right. First question has closed and 75% went with up to 20 hours in one day. So good work. to everybody who selected up to 20 hours. Let's jump to our next question. It's open now. A sloth's scientific name is bradypus. What does that mean in Greek? Is it slow feet? Is it upside down thing? Is it furry bear, or napping cat? So those questions are up there now. 5 more seconds. All right. Overwhelmingly, 86% went with slow feet. Good job, everybody. We're going to jump and open up the next question now. And that next question is, Maria definitely talked about this during the talk. How many times does a sloth poo during the week? Is it 7 times? Is it 4 times? Is it once an hour, or is it once a week? So we've got a few more seconds. All right, 50% went once a week. Good job, everybody. Next question. Sloths are related to armadillos and anteaters. Is this true or is this false? True or false? 10 more seconds. All right. Maria, what can you tell us about that? Is that true or false?
It's true.
All right, very cool. And one more question to wrap things up for today. 89% of people went with true, so good job. And our last question, how big could sloths get in the past? Was it just the same size? Could they be as big as 12 feet? Could they be smaller than they are now? Or were they about twice as large? What do you think? Oh, very split on this one. 5 more seconds. All right. Well, most people 44% went with twice as big, but that's not correct. In fact, there was a species of sloth that's now extinct that was up to 12 feet tall. That's pretty incredible. Maria, could you imagine a 12-foot sloth?
It's unbelievable, yes.
All right. Let's head to that leaderboard and see how we did. Okay. First place, David, 5 out of 5 in 51 seconds. Jack, 4 out of 5 in 56 seconds. And Chloe, 3 out of 5 with 30 seconds. All right. Thanks, everybody, for playing a little Slido quiz action today. So, Maria, how about we take a little trip and check out some of the birds at the Toucan Rescue Ranch?
Okay, great. Just give me a second so I can walk to the enclosure of the birds.
Of course. While you're heading that way, Maria, can you tell us a little bit about how the ranch is funded?
Yeah, it was founded by Leslie Howe. Leslie was born in the US, but she grew up here in Costa Rica. And since she was a little kid, she was always in love with nature. So one time when she was in the US, she decided to move to Costa Rica and start rescuing birds here. So she decided to turn her home into a rescue center. And that's how the Toucan Rescue Ranch was founded. So as I told you originally, we plan to only rescue birds like macaws, toucans, maybe some parrots. But then with the arrival of Millie, everything changed, and now we rescue many other species.
All right. And I see some very colorful ones right now.
Yeah, so over here we have the scarlet macaw. This is the largest macaw that we have here in Costa Rica. And it is practically unmistakable because of all their beautiful colors. They have a very bright red within their feathers, also a lot of yellow and blue. They're very colorful and they're very easy to recognize. The scarlet macaw is from the same family as the parrots. However, the difference between the macaws and the parrots is on their size. These guys can get up to 90 centimeters, so they're very large. And also, well, they like to eat seeds, fruits, and also some nuts. And that is why they have this very curved beak that is also very strong, because that helps them to open the seeds and eat the inside of them. Also, they have a very sticky tongue that they can use it to hold the kernel and when they are taking the shell out. Sometimes you can see macaws eating clay, and that helps them with the digestion. So they do it very frequently. They eat clay from the river banks and from other depositions of clays. That helps them to also get some minerals that they when they don't get it through their diet. And some people said that the fact that they are eating clay, that also can help them to digest some fruits that are toxic for other birds. So they can even eat the fruits that other birds can't because of this habit that they have. Scarlet macaws, they can live up to 50 years and you can find them all the way from Mexico to Brazil. And the problem with macaws, at least here in Costa Rica, is that most of the time, because of how beautiful they are, people like to keep them as pets. However, when people does this, they usually don't feed them very well, and they keep them in very uh, tiny cages where they can barely move and they can't fly. So they get depressed very easily. For example, over here we have a new arrival of a macaw. And I don't know if you can see her, but she doesn't have feathers in some parts of her body. That's because when they are pets, they get stressed and bored very easily. So they start to pluck off their feathers out of the stress and out of the boredom. Oh, there you have it. She doesn't have feathers in her chest. So this macaw arrived about last week, and they were all pets. They were pets for about 30 years. And that's why we need to keep them here in the center. Now I'm going to move to see some of the others that we have here to see if they're a little bit lower because they like to stand very high up. So it's actually quite hard to see them as well. Oh, there you have it. Yeah, here are some of the other macaws that we have. Something that is also very interesting about macaws is that they can use their feet to grab the food that they want to eat, but usually they only use their left foot to do this. So it's only the left foot that can grab the seeds, and they use the right foot to get stability. So that's a little bit weird of their behaviors, but it's very common to see macaws using only their left foot to eat. So now if you want, I can show you some of the parrots that we have as well.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. While you make your way there, Maria, I'm just going to share a little bit with the group tuning in today. The Toucan Rescue Ranch, the work they do is all through donations. So donations from the public, as well as from people who come to Costa Rica and tour the ranch to see some of these beautiful animals. And of course, with what we have going on with COVID-19, there is no tourism going on right now. So if you enjoyed today's event and you would like to help out with the Toucan Rescue Ranch, I've put the link to their website so you can dig a little bit deeper, find out more about what they do. And if you want to make a little donation, it would go a long way to helping make sure that the parrots, toucans, sloths, armadillos, all the native Costa Rican wildlife are being taken care of. All right, Maria, looks like a beautiful parrot we found.
Yeah, so this is our parrots enclosure, and we have two different species of parrots over here. So this one right here is the red-lotted parrot. You can differentiate them because of the red feathers in the upper part of their beaks. They are very curious. And over here we have another species of parrot. This is the yellow-naped Amazon. You can recognize them because of the yellow feathers in their neck. This little guy over here, she was hit by, so she was a pet before coming here. And before coming here, she kind of lost the eye. We're not very sure how that happened, but when she was brought here, she already had missed the eye. So that's one of the reasons why we also can't release them. Most of the parrots that we have here, they were pets for way too long, and now they are just habituated to humans. parrots are the most common wild animal that is kept as a pet here in Costa Rica, and that is because of how smart they are. People love the fact that they are so smart, and they use that intelligence to teach them how to speak. And sometimes they can even teach them how to sing and how to dance as well. So we have some parrots that can do a little bit of a dance. Along with the crows, they are considered the most intelligent birds in the planet, and their intelligence can be the same as a 4-year-old child, actually. So they're just very smart. Most of the parrots that we have here, they can speak in Spanish, so that it's very interesting when it's the morning and everyone is doing like a special sound. They can say hola, they can say buenas. Sometimes they can even sing. They can say lorita. We have one that says lorita cara de perro, which means lorita dog face. And also when she's singing that, she kind of dances around chasing her tail. So this is all things that their owners teach them. Also, we have one parrot that can actually sing like the football national anthem. They can say huevo and things like that. They are very talkative during the morning, and they're very playful, and they're very curious as well. They're like professional destroyers. They like to destroy the branches that we put, and we also put like very tiny wooden blocks because they love to play with that. And we try not to keep them bored because if we cannot release the animal, we need to ensure that we have all the necessary conditions to make sure that the animal has a happy and healthy life in here. So we try to keep them interested and just interacting with the other parrots that we have here so they can live happy here. Some of the threats that parrots are currently facing are deforestation because they lose their habitat, but also the pet trade. And that is something that is affecting a lot the yellow-naped Amazon, the one with the yellow feathers that I showed you before, because they are critically endangered because of the pet trade. People go to the rainforest and they steal the babies so they can sell them as pets. The problem with this is that people don't realize that these birds they can live up to 80 years. So most of the time they can even outlive their owners. And well, most of the time also here in Costa Rica, the owners get bored of having a parrot, and they just at the end they just give it to a rescue center so we can take care of it. So it's very sad also because here in Costa Rica, the way that people can prevent the parrot from flying away is that they cut some of their feathers. Some of their feathers might grow back, but most of the time people don't really know which feathers to cut, and they end up cutting, like overcutting them, and they end up cutting feathers that will not grow back again. So many of the parrots that we have here, they cannot fly, and that's also why we cannot rehabilitate them and release them to the wild again. So we need to keep them here. They can even whistle and make even sounds that are not like human speech. I've heard of parrot that uh, mimics the sound of a car when you're locking the car. So it's also very interesting.
All right. Very cool, Maria. How about we get a few questions in?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So I do have a question here from Alex wondering about what you feed. What's the diet of the parrots and the macaws at the ranch?
Oh, that's a very good question. So we feed them with fruits. We use a lot of papaya, mango, melon, many different fruits that the birds love, but also we give them seeds and sometimes, oh, well, yeah, many different kinds of seeds. So they have already finished their breakfast over here. So we don't have many leftovers and they're drinking water over there. But yeah, it's mostly fruits and seeds.
All right. So there's one more Slido poll open right now. Those tuning in, if you want to put in one word that you think really describes the Toucan Rescue Ranch, one word about the Toucan Rescue Ranch, and we'll take a look and see what that is closer to the end. But we have another question here from Josh. Joshua was wondering, how many eggs do the parrots lay?
Oh, that's a very good question. I'm not really sure what the exact number is, but I'm sure it's like less than 4, between 2 and 4 eggs.
Okay. Gaming with Jack is joining in, and he's curious about whether any of the branch are nocturnal.
I'm sorry, which one?
Are any of the animals at the Toucan Rescue Ranch nocturnal?
Yes, we have many nocturnal animals here. We have wildcats, like the ocelot. We also have another wildcat that is called an ocelot. It's like an ocelot, but smaller. And we also have kinkajous. Well, the sloths are also nocturnal. And we also have porcupines. The porcupines that we have here, they are all nocturnal, so they're active during the night.
Okay, let's grab another question. This one's from Elizabeth, and Elizabeth wants to know what color the eggs are.
That's a very interesting question. I actually don't know what color they are. So yeah, I'm gonna try to find out that.
Okay, well, we can assign that as a little homeschool homework as well. Students can look up the macaw and the parrot and see what color those eggs are. And Maria, remind me what species of parrot this is.
This is the red-lotted parrot over here. And this one over here is the yellow-naped Amazon. So she's hiding her neck right now, but they have yellow feathers in their neck. This little guy over here, you can see them, the yellow feathers.
They seem very curious. Definitely want to see what's going on.
Yes, definitely.
All right, very cool. Let's grab another question from the Slido room. This time we're gonna shift back to sloths a little bit. And Alex is wondering if if you've ever had an albino sloth. Can sloths be born like that? Or sorry, this is from Luna. Luna wants to know.
What kind of sloths? I'm sorry?
An albino sloth, where they're born with the really white or pale fur.
Oh, yeah. I have never seen actually an albino sloth, to be honest. And I'm sure that we haven't had them here at the ranch, but they probably are in nature, but they're very rare to see.
Okay, so Alex wants to know about the parrots and the macaws. We know that the sloths are solitary, but do the parrots and macaws usually travel in groups?
Yes, they are social animals, to be honest. So the parrots live in larger groups than the macaws. The macaws are monogamous. So that means that they find a partner and they stay with that partner for the rest of their lives. And the parrots do that as well. But also they can live in larger groups. But yes, about 15 individuals or so.
All right, very cool. Well, I just put a link into the chat sidebar. When this event wraps up, if anybody tuning in wants to head to that link, we are live at the Ripley's Aquarium of Canada in Toronto, and they're feeding the eagle rays for us. So that's a really cool event that you'll want to check out. I do want to say, Maria, that in the Slido, the words that came back about today's event, about the Toucan Rescue Ranch, are awesome, heartwarming, magnificent, amazing, and cool. So I think everybody tuning in really enjoyed getting to hang out at the Toucan Rescue Ranch today.
That's amazing. That's great to hear.
All right. Well, once again, everyone, thanks so much for taking a little virtual field trip with us and learning about these amazing animals in Costa Rica. Maria, thank you so much for taking the time to take us on a little tour and share some of your amazing knowledge with us. And I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll see you next week for a whole new week of live events.
Okay, thank you all for being here. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We're signing off.